Hello everyone, Vinay this side. In this video, I want to address some of the common questions which I received over email, phone, or WhatsApp. After our first DhanHQ Tradingview extension has been released and announced in our Dhan community portal, the first thing is why you are not giving any free trial, or why are you directly forcing us to take any subscription plan. I want to play around first, and then I will decide is what the first question people were keep asking it. Okay, so before I go inside that question and answer, first of all, I will give you an overview of what is this extension is all about, right? Then you will get some clarity. Then we'll decide. Okay, so is it possible for us to give it free? Okay, so see, we basically use AWS for all our backend services. Okay, this extension, what you are installing in your Chrome browser, you might think it's just a client application. It doesn't require to talk to backend, but it's not. Okay, so it has to communicate with the backend server to get some of the files from the backend to render it in the plugin, and then make use of the plugin more secure. Okay, that's the first thing. And for that reason, okay, so for that reason we have some server which is taken in Mumbai region. We are using AWS extensively. Okay, so we try to deploy our services in AWS Mumbai region. The reason being is because internally it will call multiple other broker services using the API.dhan.co, right? Like for that, latency would be a bit lower if it is in Mumbai region. So for that reason, we used AWS Mumbai region. Okay, so some of the common services which we require from AWS to make this plugin to work seamlessly, right? The first things first is API gateway. So API gateway, you can think of like, that's the place where all your request and response being, received first. Okay, so as a customer or as a client, so your any such request will always go to your API gateway. API gateway will do all the whitelisting and blacklisting. Everything will be happening at the API gateway. Let's say if you are a hacker and then you try to expose certain things, so the API gateway is smart enough and then block all your requests. It will not downstream it to the downstream server, right? It will not bypass. So that's why we are using an API gateway. And then API gateway is just a broker, right? Like it will just it will just receive the request and then it will pass it to the downstream server and get the data, and then it will send it back to the respective client. That's what API gateway does. Okay, but AWS API gateway provides with certain cost principle, right? Like every data what is being transmitted to API gateway from the client to server and server to client, it will be charged. It's not provided free of cost by AWS. Like even a 0.01 KB of data which is transmitted, that will be billed to the account. Okay, that's where the API gateway is mostly not given as a free. That's the first thing. And the second thing is uh, server. Like a server meaning easy to server, right? Like every application what we deploy to capture your request and respond, it needs to talk with database, or it needs to talk with other APIs, right? Like for that we have to have our own server, which is Amazon EC2. So we have some large server, some medium server, and some small server, and then we have enabled auto scaling and scaling up and scaling down based on the number of requests. Okay, so for that also we have to have our own server to handle your data transmission and then capture your request, pass it to the API.dhan.co, get the data, format it, and then it will send back to a client, right, via the API gateway. For that we have to have the Amazon EC2. And then all the data is what I'm meaning, starting from in the extension you might have seen. Take an example of this lot. Okay, so nifty lots you can think of. So this is not only just nifty and fin nifty, right? Like this number of lots, this is completely for a FNO, right? So 100 lots meaning like every future script or every option script will comes with certain quantity attached to it, right? Like if like take an example of like bank nifty is 25 quantity, fin nifty is 40 quantity, and then like similarly state bank future will have 1500 quantity, right? So here you are not specifying the quantity, you're basically specifying the number of lots, right? So how these lots will be filled in your order window is like the system will make a call to a server, get what is the quantity size, I mean what is the number of quantities available for state bank for one lot, and then that will be calculated by multiplying this number of lots into that number of quantities, then it will be displayed, right? For that also it will need a server, right? So it will make a call, and then it will search which script and what quantity it will be getting it back, right? So how we will be get the data? DhanHQ API provided a script details here. If you go here, you will see script details attached here in the annexure. You click on it, you download it. Okay, so if just for an example, so if you see here, Okay, so it is of 9.5 MB of data is being transmitted, right? So this 9.5 MB of data, if you're transmitting from our server to the client, right? So AWS will charge like anything. Okay, so that's like huge amount of data transmission charge will be there, right? So you can play around this website if you see, and you just put like, if we am transmitting 10 MB of data per request, right? Then you'll get to know what is the pricing I'm talking with, right? So for that, like, we just every day we have a worker job that will download the script details. Why every day we are downloading? Because like most of the time F1O scripts, right? Like weekly expiries are introduced. Like yesterday, I mean every Thursday the script might get expired. The next day we want to update the script properly, right? We don't want to store everything in our database because of the database charges. So we are basically using MySQL for that. So we every day morning, like the worker job will start polling the data script, and then it will convert to the respective structure which we want to use it. This file, like it will have many details. Okay, so we don't want to store everything. We just want to store only the respective field. So we convert that data mapper, and then we'll store it in a database. Okay, for that we have MySQL databases, and for MySQL again we have to pay some amount, because I just chosen like 3 GB of MySQL instance, and then for every read and write cluster we have to pay certain amount. Okay, and then cache we introduced, because like without a cache, if you're always hitting with MySQL, sometimes your MySQL server is getting very slow in terms of responding back. So what we thought, yeah, you can scale MySQL a bit higher, but we decided we'll introduce a caching layer in between the MySQL, so that like next sequence of requests will be respond much faster. So for that we are using a Elastic Cache. That's again from Amazon. That's we took just 1 GB of Elastic Cache. Okay, Elastic Cache, I mean, to have the request response handling is much faster. And then all the server logging, right? Like every log, like what's happening behind the scenes, we are putting into CloudWatch, and we have the monitoring which is coming from Realm. So where we'll keep estimate. Okay, this rough estimate is you can think of is like, let's say if you open this pop-up, right? This will this will sequentially make 3 to 4 API calls. The reason first is like it will check your authenticity, and then it will check your subscription, and then it will pull up some data, and then like all those things it will be taken, and then this file is being rendered from server, right? Like if you see there is a lag here, like if you see here, because it's taking file from server and it's been rendering it. So it's all considered as a request. Okay, so considering all those things, the approximate cost for that is around 840 USD. Okay, so on top of that you put GSTs and all the other stuff. Roughly, if you put 900 USD per month, okay, for a 10 million request and response alone. Not I'm putting not more than that. Just sorry, that 850 USD which I'm going to pay from my packet. 850 USD is roughly around like what, 60,000 or 65,000 according to the current market price. So 65,000 if I am paying from my packet, meaning I cannot give it for free, right? Like if the too many customers are onboarded, then I should not stop this plugin and say it's not available, right? For that reason only we made you have to vouch for some subscription model with very lesser price, right? For a customer, it's just 399 per month and 4299 per year. We are giving some discount as well. So if you consider per day, it's just 15 rupees hardly per day, right? The second question what they ask, okay, so I understand all your estimate, and so okay, at least why can't you give at least a 1 week trial? Is the next question people ask me. Okay, so we can give free trial. Okay, the problem again is there are plenty of website that can give you temporary email. So you don't need to actually create a Gmail account for that, or like any other Yahoo or whatever you can name it. So where you will validate your email with phone number and all the other stuff. But there are many websites like this temp email. You can go temporary email for OTP. You will get plenty of websites. You can keep changing your email ID, and you can make use of that ID. What you have to do is like you just uninstall this extension, you reinstall, then it will ask you to enter your email ID. You feed this email ID, and then it will consider as a new user, and you are allowed to use. Like let it be 1 week trial or 3 days trial or whatever, right? we, how we want to validate from those kind of situation is like we want to validate your email by whether it's from Gmail or Yahoo, and then like you want to check whether the domain name of that email is proper, right? So yeah, we can do that. I'm not saying we cannot do that. We can do that. But thing is, we are just three people working on this plugin. Okay, so myself and another two engineers, we are working on to develop this kind of plugin. Okay, so we want to add more and more features which is helpful for traders to trade on. So we don't want to focus our thing to other stuff. Okay, that is the primary reason we thought like, okay, we don't want to give for free trial. Consider like like 10 emails per day are getting created, and people are using it, right? So it's all been charged here, right? Like, and then like again, like even if it is of like 50 days people used it, so it has to be from our own pocket, right? So we are not a company, so we are independent developers, right? Like we have to pay from our pocket. That is the reason we still decided not to give any trial version also, just opt for any subscription, at least a monthly or yearly. That is a thing which we decided, okay, we don't want to give for free trial, or like don't want to give anything for free or like anything like that. So we initially we thought we'll go with the open source model. That's what we discussed with the Don team also. But now because of this cost and other stuff, like we have to force you to take a subscription model. Yeah, I mean, really, like it's bit way cheaper than what the brokerage cost is all about. Like, if you consider a brokerage for per order, like 40 rupees we are paying, right? But this extension is all about like per day, you're just going to pay 15 rupees. I'm not sure like why people are like keep asking questions like this, but it's way cheaper, so that like it would be useful for us as well. Like we are also putting a lot of efforts building this extension. It's not like we publish this extension and we are not going to go away, right? Like if there is any issues coming in, like if TradingView change their library and this plugin might not work, and then we have to again sit back, make this extension work, so that like it would be smooth, right? Like you have to trade smoothly, right? So again, a lot of efforts has to be put from our side to make this plugin work every day, right? So and then we have to keep monitoring our server. For that only we decided we don't want to give free trial or like any open source kind of way, because that doesn't works, right? Like the next set of features what we are planning is like alerts and then auto placement order of and all the other stuff, which extensively a CPU intensive task, keep monitoring the market feed data, and then it has to place, right? We cannot give everything on the client side, right? Like something has to be run on the backend. So for that we cannot go with the open source kind of model, right? Use it, and you try it out, you try for a month, check it out, like how this use how this is used in your trading, and then provide us a feedback. If something is like not working, let us know. We try to implement that in our next phase of release. From now on, you can expect every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks once we'll keep updating our extension. But more features. Alert is something one which we are right now working on. The second thing is like stop loss. Stop loss is also some of the things which we recently come because stop loss hunting is happening more frequently, right? Like in some of the stocks. So we got a feedback that like don't place stop loss order, but capture the stop loss order. But whenever a price reaches a certain point, let's say if you are placing a stop loss order of like 100 rupees, whenever the current market price reaches 95 rupees, then only you place an order for 100 rupees stop loss. Something like that the people are requesting. For that, like we keep running our server all the time, keep monitoring tick by tick data, and we have to place it, right? Those are the plans. So that is the reason we can't give it for free, right? I hope you understand everything, and I can share this link also in the description. You can go and you can play around with certain numbers. You can see it. Just edit this. You will see like what upfront cost which we are going and we are putting it. All those things you'll get to know about it. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye.